Okay, I'll call a meeting to order, and I call for the adoption of the agenda of the 60th meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Dyson
I'll
Edmonds,
second that.
seconded by Councillor Compton House. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Carried unanimous. Delegations, we have none today. Adoption of the previous minutes, 58 minutes, May 26, 2020. Moved by
So moved.
Councillor Dyson Edmonds, seconded by Councillor Cran. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye, carried. The 59th minutes of June the 16th, moved by Deputy Mayor Pomeroy, seconded by Councillor Dyson Edmonds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, carried. We'll move on from correspondence into the committee recommendations, and the first one is Councillor Cran, Municipal Services.
Thank you, Your Worship.
A nice haircut too. Nice haircut.
So, the meeting was held on the 10th of June at 12 noon, present via telephone. Myself, Deputy Mayor Bert Pomeroy, Councillor Michelle Beatty, had to leave at 12:29 p.m. Town Manager Robert Andrews left at 12:41. Municipal Engineer Randy Dillon, Superintendent Frank Brown, Fire Chief Brad Butler, Executive Assistant Kathy Eddy, PR Manager Will Williams, Regretful Superintendent Keith Pollard. Meeting was called to order at 12:06. Reviewed minutes, action items, no errors or omissions. Manager's report, Fire Department Chief Butler's report was attached and reviewed. Since last meeting, have been 8 emergency calls for assistance for a total of 48 to date. Advised that all fire apparatuses fully serviceable, and they are still waiting on completion and delivery of the RRU, as delays due to COVID-19 are affecting the timeline. According to the tender, they have until October of 2020 to deliver, October 8th, 2020 to deliver. Chief Butler advised various funding initiatives have been made with respect to fire department funding. However, due to COVID-19, funding has been placed on hold. He said funding for a new fire station build would have to be allocated from the multi-year capital works, and there will be potential for a 60-40 funding split up on government approval. Chief Butler advised that the FF1 training was finished this evening, and said it has been contacted with Fosbury regarding mutual aid agreement, and they will be re-engaging once COVID-19 restrictions allow. Robert Hinks has resumed fire inspection as of June the 8th, with alert level 3 being reached. Under the Public Works Manager's report was attached and reviewed. Manager advised that the department continues to attempt to continue operations in a productive manner while maintaining practices that will be considered safe for staff and the general public. Crews have performed regular seasonal duties such as snow clearing, sweeping, road sanding, shoulder maintenance, landfill burial, as well as assisting other departments. Residual access has been reinstated at the landfill with new measures in place to maintain sufficient physical distancing. Tipping fees to date are approximately $126,000. So, just an update on that. This time last year, we had $254,000. So right now we are down $128,000 from the same time last year. Manager advised annual spring cleanup has been postponed, possibility cancellation for this year. Residential yard waste area have been reopened and staff have been clearing the area the last 2 weeks. And just on the cleanup actually started today, and the bulk pickup was commenced on June 29th. So if anybody has any bulk items now, they can come to curbside. Water and Sewer Manager report was attached and reviewed. Deputy Mayor Pomeroy said he was getting some calls about water quality, how much from Spring Gulch right now. Engineer Randy Dillon said there was an issue, was well number 2 and it's since been corrected. Engineering Manager report was attached and reviewed. Manager advised that the Wellness Center is about 5 weeks behind due to COVID-19 restrictions. However, productivity is improving and substantial completion is now expected to be by December 7, 2020. Occupational health and safety has delivered an inspection and determined that compliance with all safety protocols are being followed. Manager said he is trying to arrange a media tour, digital walkthrough for later this summer. Storm drainage improvements have been incorporated into the town's local road improvements project. Concept designs have been reviewed and modified for Kellan Drive reconstruction extension as a result of concerns voiced by residents on the lawsuit. Council has approved a 14-meter buffer to the road right of way, and the design is proceeding. Manager said he is still waiting on civil drawings for the RV park design. The tender for back fencing for Husky Park closes on Monday. Manager the contract was awarded the Husky Park drop, and installation will begin in a few weeks. Manager referred to the annual spring cleanup and said that the manager of roads and grounds will be reviewing provincial guidelines to see what options are available. I ask that this report be accepted as presented, and I do have a recommendation, Your Worship.
It has been moved by Councillor Cran, seconded by Councillor Dyson-Edmonds. Are there any questions for Councillor Cran? Deputy Mayor Pomeroy.
Yeah, just one question. You indicated that the tender for backfitting for Husky Park closed on Monday. It's closed now, right?
Yes, I'm going to say.
Or is it this Monday coming?
That's right, Deputy Mayor. The tender's closed, and we should expect the material probably about a week's time. It's being shipped now from St. John's, so we'll start the installation as soon as it arrives.
So it'll be installed in the next couple of weeks?
That's the
It won't impact the league if it do start?
There may be an impact if the backstop is not up. So we have an option of not installing the backstop until the league finishes, or to install it within a couple of weeks.
Do we know how long it's gonna take to install it?
I would say it'd probably take about a week or so.
Are there any further questions for Councillor Cran?
How long is the spring cleanup running for, do you know?
I think it's around 3 to 4 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks?
4 to 6 weeks. I guess it'll run until the stock goes off.
Right.
And furthermore, we're starting our road site on next Tuesday. That will be the 30th.
29. 29, guys.
Monday, isn't it?
Monday, yeah. So like I said, anybody that's got any ballpoint of that, they can place in curbside, they can pick up Saturday on 29th.
And our public relations officer, I'm sure, will put public service announcement on that, or you probably already did.
Yes, Your Worship. If for anybody listening, they can see the dates on the town website. Just search for the, you'll see in the public service announcements.
Thank you. Are there any further questions for Councillor Cran? There being none, all in favour of the report?
Aye.
Carried unanimous. We'll move on to community services and recreation.
Hang on,
I'm sorry, Councillor Cran. You do have a recommendation to bring forward.
Okay, just to give a bit of, I'll give a bit of history. Funding for this project was approved under the Small Community Fund in the amount of $900,000. Additional funding in the amount of $246,750 was reallocated under the town's multi-capital works program. The architectural engineering consultant Act 49 has reviewed the tender and recommended that a contract be awarded to Métis Development Corporation in the amount of $853,321, which is within the available funding of $925,537. While the total tendered amount is $83,904, am I reading it right? 24 cents. Below the approved funding, the town will be responsible for a slight overage on tender rate in the amount of $5,529.48. This additional cost can be offset with a savings on tender deed in the amount of $31,396.07. Municipal Services Committee recommends that council award a contract to Métis Development Corporation in the amount of $853,321, subject to authorization by the Department of Municipal Affairs and Environment.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Councillor Cran, seconded by Councillor Compton Hobbs. Is there any questions on the recommendation brought forward?
Randy, can you tell us when that work will be started?
The contract is anxious to get started, it's been, told me a couple times since 10 minutes off, so, actually, calling today will get started, so. I would suspect, as soon as he gets his, bonding, insurances and so on in place, that he would be on site and get the project started.
Wouldn't he need his bond and insurance before he even, put in his application?
Well, he would need them, but, we have to have proof of them. He doesn't need to submit them with his tender. So before, he had to put in his work schedule, and he had to put in his, confirmation of his performance bonds and so on. So he put in his bid bond with the tender, but he doesn't have to submit his performance bond until the contract is awarded.
Most contracts require a certified check or a bid bond up front, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, that's the bid, you have to put in your bid bond.
Okay.
But before you start construction, you have to submit your performance and materials bonds.
Okay, are there any further questions for Councillor Cranman's recommendation? There being none, all in favor of the recommendation?
Aye.
Carried, unanimous. Community Services and Recreation, Councillor Compton Hobbs.
Community Service and Recreation met on June 8th, present with myself, Councillor Beatty, Councillor Cran, Director Donald Mayers, Town Manager Robert Andrews, Public Relations Williams, Executive Assistant Kathy Kenny, and Michelle Northwood, campaign coordinator. We had an update from Michelle on the capital campaign. Things are moving along. It was slowed down a bit due to COVID, but she's getting it back on track and hoping for some positive results in the very near future as they sit down and meet with different corporations. Summer recreation program, we had a discussion on that. We were successful and had 11 students approved to the Canada Employment student jobs. Dominic's in the process of doing the hiring this week. Sarah Pilgrim was hired again as the summer recreation director. What we're going to be doing this year due to the pandemic is we're starting the summer recreation program on July 6th with 20 children for a 2-week period, and we'll change that up every couple of weeks until the program is finished in August. A little bit different this year, but this is according to the guidelines. That's the way we have to do things this summer. And Mealy Mountain has sports soccer field. We met with minor soccer, myself and Dominic, about a month ago, just before this CSR meeting, and they had concerns about their soccer field at Mealy Mountain. It was being vandalized and the greens were being ruined, so they wanted to know if they could put a secure fence around the soccer field as we do around the Mealy Mountain block fencing. We discussed that in our CSR meeting, and the community supported this request, and we'll work together with them as we move forward. Obviously, there was no finances budgeted, and they may have some finances as well, which is pretty good. But we all know that vandalism happens at the Mealy Mountain Sportsplex, and the soccer pitch has a lot of money invested in that field, so they want to protect it as much as they can. Well, because of the pandemic, we're now on alert level 3. We're moving to alert level 2 on Thursday, according to the Premier and the Chief Medical Officer. So some things will change there for us. I just spoke to Dominic this afternoon, and before we open the playgrounds and the basketball courts, he's just waiting on the guidelines, how we're gonna move forward on some of the town infrastructure. So, we'll get updated as we move forward. Canada Day celebrations will be different this year again. We're doing a Canada Day virtual celebration. Wayland has worked with the Lawrence O'Brien Arts Center, and there's gonna be some recordings done prior to Canada Day. There's also gonna be some pet contests, decorate, dress up your costume, put a costume on your pet, decorate your cabin or your house, and decorate a cake and submit your photos for a chance to win some prizes, gift certificates, and the grand prize is a barbecue, complete with the main thing. So some great prizes there for the community. There was a lot, obviously, to report on what's happening under the CSR because there's no events or any competitive sports or any groups or anything happening. So we'll just, as we move forward to Alert 2, see where that goes. And I ask you to please accept my report as presented.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Councillor Compton Hobbs, seconded by Councillor Grant. Are there any questions for Councillor Compton Hobbs? Councillor Dyson?
Just one question, I know Jack Councillor Compton Hobbs has answered it to me already, but just for the listening public, with regards to discussion on the possibility of, the summer rec catering to youth with special needs. We had a discussion on that, maybe.
Yes, we discussed that within the committee, and Dominic has had discussions with his director and the students to see how we can improve that as we move ahead this summer. So we're aware of that issue in the past and how we're going to work with it in the future. So there has been discussion.
Are there any further questions? Councillor Beatty?
So the prize, that only applies to the community members, not the town council.
Right.
Just checking.
I would think.
Just want to make sure that's out there.
Yeah.
Town manager, you got some clarification?
Sorry, I believe the guideline that we typically go by is it's generally the prize winning is not open to council or staff in their immediate family. I'll clarify that and get back to you.
Because if not, I'm going down and start to decorate my cabin right away. No, I know, we've always followed that guideline that the council can't submit any name or photo or anything for.
Yeah, it wasn't mentioned in your report, so I just want that pointed out.
There was someone else had a question over here? Councillor Grant?
Yeah, just a quick question on the capital campaign. Any idea where we are in regards to funding, where we're to, or where we need to be to, or where we're at, or where we gotta go?
We did get an update, I can't remember the number right off now, but, we still need to do some work to get where we wanna go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any further questions on the community services and recreation report by Councillor Compton Hobbs? There being none, all in favor of the report?
Aye.
Carried unanimous. We'll move on to development, planning and enforcement. Deputy Mayor Palmer.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. The Development and Planning Committee and Enforcement Committee met on June the 11th via teleconference. Present were myself as chair, Councillors Dyson Edmonds and Compton Hobbs, Town Manager Robert Andrews, Engineer Randy Dillon, Municipal Technologist Brian Johnson, GIS Technologist Courtney Dunn, Community Constable Larry Baker, and Executive Assistant Kathy Ann. The meeting was called to order at 4:37 p.m. We reviewed previous minutes and action items, and there were no errors or omissions. During the meeting, we discussed a number of issues, including the town's new plan and development regulations, which is in the final stages of approval. Town engineer advised that a commissioner has to be appointed by the town to oversee the implementation process. We had hoped to be in a position to put forward a name for council's consideration with the intent of adopting the town plan today. However, understand that the town plan cannot be adopted until the commissioner has been appointed. And I was advised by the town engineer earlier that names of candidates will be forthcoming soon. There was also discussion on the town's vendor permit regulations, With an increase in the number of vendors, the committee suggested that designated areas within the community be set aside specifically for vendors. This will ensure proper permits have been obtained and activity can be monitored by the town. The municipal tech office was asked to make modifications to the current regulations. I should note, however, that once the suggested changes have been made to the regulations, it will have to come back to council for ratification. With respect to street numbering, the town manager advised that legal counsel has revised draft regulations. I don't know, Mr. Andrews, if there's anything you can add to this issue since our last meeting. It was with legal the last, at our meeting?
I still have to have a follow-up, just to go through there's a combined section here about enforcement. So I'm hoping to have that scheduled and discussed by end of week.
So, is it safe to say that we hope to have a draft, present to council for next month?
If not soon. If it comes before next committee schedule, it will be circulated as soon as this meeting.
Okay. Another issue, Your Worship, Councillors Dyson Edmonds and Thompson Hobbs both raised concerns about a possible wood chip operation at Woolburn Bay, and indicated that potential operation would displace cabin owners as well as RV campers who utilize the area. As chair, I noted that the area in question is outside town limits, and that council has no authority, and that the matter would have to be handled by the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. However, both councillors Dyson and Evans and Compton Hobbs said despite whether or not the town has any jurisdiction to withstand with concerned cabin owners and those who utilize the area for camping, as that possible operation will still impact the community. As there are still many unknowns at this point, it was suggested that a meeting be arranged between all of council and those involved in this proposed operation to discuss possible impacts, prospects, and employment opportunities. In his report to the Community Council Larry Baker provided his monthly report, a copy of which is contained in the council package. Council Baker advised that his focus has been on ensuring public safety, derelict properties, traffic, and animal control. He also noted that he continues to deal with complaints of illegal campsites throughout the community and issues involving homelessness and transient people. He advised that he had hoped to arrange a visit to some of these illegal campsites with stakeholders, and also spoke about over-service of alcohol by retailers. There was some discussion on the use of body cameras, and that policy will be forthcoming today through the Finance Policy and Administration Committee for Council's consideration. The committee also reviewed an updated list of nuisance properties, ranking each by priority. Councilor Baker had indicated that he intends to devote at least one day a week dealing specifically with this issue and will update the committee accordingly. There being no further business, the meeting adjourned at 6:40 p.m. The committee is scheduled to meet again on July 11th. Your Worship, I move that my report be accepted as read.
I'll second that.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Palmer, seconded by Councillor Cran. Are there any questions for Deputy Mayor Pomeroy? Councillor Dyson Edmonds.
Do we have an update on the potential meeting between the council and the developer down there?
I haven't received an update yet. I'm not sure if,
Any question?
There was supposed to be a request put into the developer in the Woolburn Bay area, and I was wondering if we have anything scheduled yet.
The request is gone, and the appropriate people are going to be contacted. I do believe that the appropriate people are from outside, and that the call was going to be made, and then get back to council, as I think we discussed last week, that I reached out to Mr. Cabot for a meeting, but he felt that, you know, he's leasing the land, they're going to use his land for a dock, but he would prefer that we reach out to, or he would reach out to the company itself. That's what we meet with council, or at least give us an update. And as soon as I hear back from my will notify council.
I just wanted to say that yeah, you noted in your report that, well, I speak for myself, that I will be standing with the people, because I do believe it impacts, even though it's outside of town limits, it's going to impact our town tremendously, our taxpayers, so I will be supporting them. And I also want to touch on the transient. In the report, it talks about the increase in our enforcement officers' calls on the transient. And I can't understand how we can have a meeting and, with government officials and it wasn't expressed, the urgency of this matter. It's right in the report, it's in the complaint logs. The transient issue is a big concern for this community right now. And I know we're all talking about it, and we're having meetings, whatever, but, right now, this should be the forefront, the transient issue. I was out there today, and, this issue is not going away. And, the urgency of it should be a priority for this council right now, to try to deal with this issue. From what I witnessed today. I can't express enough, and I'm sure our council feels the same, that we have to get the message to the appropriate people that this is a major issue that we need to deal with.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you anymore. I mean, y'all know it's an issue in our community, and I mean, like yourself, I went through a number of, I'm trying to withdraw, but I went through quite a few of these campsites and actually cleaned up a few. And in one particular campsite, there were syringes around and everything. I mean, you know, it's kind of scary that we're going through these areas that are easily accessible by children and everyone else. That, I mean, a child going up out on these campsites and pick up one of those needles, you don't know what they're going to pick up.
We actually spent a couple of hours out there today, and that's exactly what we saw. We saw kids coming up on these groups of people that were in these makeshift campsites and in the trails, and, you know, we ended up coming back around a few times because we were concerned for these kids that were out on their bikes and coming up upon these sites. And, you know, some of what we seen was, well, all of what we seen was extremely disturbing today. And, you know, this has to be, I think, a priority, a top priority at council.
And just to add to that too, I went out on my own side by side, and I can tell you that our enforcement officer is not getting to some of these sites by walking there. There's lots of thick bush, and one of the areas we found, there was probably 2 or 3 people in there, way deep in the woods, and it was a mess. I don't have to tell anybody that. Everybody knows what's going on out there. It's just, there's no way to access some of these sites unless you have some kind of type of off-road vehicle. Yeah, I can't stress enough, this gotta be a priority. We have to do something, we have to get it to the right ears. And not only the council, it's on all levels of government that needs to step up and find a solution to this issue.
And I mean, I found this article in one area, you know, just in the Virtual Freedom area, and there's a lot of elders and a lot of seniors down there, and my wife and I went down and cleaned it up, and spent the whole afternoon and cleaned up an area that, and the next day he came back again, and started setting up camp again. Went down again, cleaned it up, and I received a call from one of the seniors down there who thanked me for, you know, going down and cleaning up the area. And then while I was on the phone with her, she made a comment that there was some new acts taking place at the same time when she was looking at her window. And, you know, she was scared. And, it's really disheartening. There's no easy solution, but if everybody don't work together to find a way, we're not gonna be.
Well, what we've done, there's been a citizen that's been very outspoken about this transient population for the past year. No better way to see it firsthand than take her with us. We took her with us. Here, come and see it firsthand. Now, nobody has a solution, you know. No better way for anybody to understand this, government officials, the premier, anybody. Bring them to Goose Bay, bring them out there, see it firsthand.
You gotta see it in order.
Firsthand. That today turned her, oh, I can tell you that, she had a different tune when we were finished, I can tell you that.
Well, I'm certainly hoping that the public is going to come forward, because we've heard very little from them so far. But as council is well aware that we had a meeting with Kerry Trimper only it was yesterday, and we made note to him that it's gone beyond these it needs to be addressed immediately. And one of the things that we mentioned to Perry was that, well, there may be a working committee. We need someone now that is going to be dedicated full time, that can pretty well on a daily basis try and find solutions and answers and ways and means to control and hopefully to get rid of what's happening out here in our neighborhood. I can say that, as we mentioned, that I was on the tour with Chief Hart, and I think he's key along with other people. And as I told council, he's interested in bringing his council back where I walked to. So I think that's going to be a gigantic start, and it certainly shows that we need, and better still, that we are getting to the key people. But all being said and done, there's a lot of people who've tried over the years. It's growing more and more every day, and it needs to be addressed. And yes, council is, like council is doing this part, but council, needs help. And basically, these people out here have got mental health and addictions, and the government has to take full responsibility in providing resource people and other people. So there's no doubt that it's not something that we want to see. And there's one thing to try and clean up some of the things, but also what's important is that we get the right help for some of these people that badly need it. So there's no doubt that it's key on our agenda.
I just want to add to Mayor that of all the sites we went to today, the dirtiest ones we saw was right behind here at the town hall, that I requested many times that the trees be cut back, because I think it's a total disgrace that we can look at our back window and see all that garbage back there. At least clean up and cut the trees back a little bit. And the other dirtiest area we saw was behind Grenfell, between Grenfell and Murphy. It's unreal. So I don't know if the town can send someone in here to clean it up, or maybe our spring cleanup now, I don't know, but it's quite the mess down there.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and I think there's a lot of places around the county where people are saying that they want the trees cut, not actually cut down, but the limbs trimmed 4 and 5 feet off the ground, so at least you can see through, so we've heard that from a lot of people as well. So there's no doubt that there's a lot of work to be done, and I look forward to Thursday. And by the way, council, myself and Councillor Compton House was at the Lawrence Branch Centre today for something to do with different, the events that's coming up like Canada today and so on. And Yvonne Jones was there, so we also invited Yvonne Jones to come to the meeting on Thursday with Barry Crimper as well. But Councillor Compton, I couldn't, you're right, I mean, like something will be done. And, I want to keep on going, but I mean, this time of the year, when there's open fires being held out there right under the thick trees, I tell you, all it takes is for one incident and the wind blowing the wrong way, and we got that.
We actually witnessed some of that today, Mr. Mayor, some remnants of some fires that are in some very enclosed areas close to some houses. It's a scary thought to see what potentially could happen.
Newfoundland has at least 5 fire pits set up in the woods.
And like some people mentioned to me that while we're in proximity to their residents, that while it may not be a big forest fire, that if the wind is the wrong way, that the fire may not be a threat to your house, but it will cause a lot of smoke damage. So anyway, we'll we were meeting on Tuesday, and we need to keep it going, and we will. So.
Yeah, I have one recommendation.
Okay. So are there any further questions for Councillor Pomeroy on his report? There being none, all in favor of the report?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried unanimous, and your recommendation.
Aye. Yes, Your Worship, just in one. There were a number of recommendations that were considered at the committee meeting. However, requirements for advertising were not able to be met at that time. And so we may very well be in a position where we may have to call a special meeting at some point to deal with those specific applications. So anyone that's listening and their application is not being dealt with today, that's the reason why, and we will get to it sooner rather than later. Just one recommendation, it is a Crown land application for Mr. Jason Dull to acquire a parcel of Crown land in the Bud Lake Road for the purpose of constructing a seasonal recreational cottage. Committee is recommending council approve and support the application, provided it is in compliance with all the town's development regulations.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Deputy Mayor Pomeroy, seconded by Councillor Cran. Are there any questions on the recommendation brought forward? There being none, all in favor of the recommendation? Aye. Carried unanimous. Okay, we'll move on to Councillor Edmonds, public engagement and economic development.
Thank you, Mayor. The Economic Development Public Engagement Committee met on June the 9th. Present was myself, Councillor Humphrey Hobbs, Manager HRP, Public Relations Manager Wayne Williams, and Executive Assistant Kathy Eddy. We have requests from Sean Cran and Town Manager. The meeting was called to order at 12:03. The minutes were reviewed, and there were no errors and omissions. The PR manager gave his report and for the committee's review, and of course outlined the fact that the majority of the activity in May, as well as the month before, was related to COVID-19. He advised the committee as well that he is looking at RFP process to construct a new town site due to some of the current issues that we have in what our site is at the moment. He is planning to work with the engineer and look at something for the 21-22 budget that will make it an easier website to navigate. There's been a lot of PSAs because of COVID-19, so we appreciate all the work he was doing there. The economic development position, of course, is still vacant, and HR is in the process of arranging the interviews and filling that position. The committee, of course, expressed some concerns over the RV park being stalled. They requested the engineer send along the latest information so we can have further discussion and set up a meeting with ACOA to discuss this further as well. The chair had noted that monies were redirected from the RV park and ACOA and requested a meeting with the council quite some time ago, but this still hasn't happened. We will be pushing for that in the very near future, within the next few days. All was in agreement that this meeting was extremely important, and we will look forward to meeting with Rex Gowdy and his counterparts to move this file forward. That's been it for the economic development and public engagement, but we do look forward to that position being filled so we could get some more files worked on. And I ask that this report be accepted as read.
I'll second it.
It's been moved by Councillor Edmonds, seconded by Councillor Compton Hobbs. Are there any discussion on her report?
I just want to add the RV park, we talk with that every meeting. I'd like to see that the meeting with ACOA put in place because as we know, Wilbur Bay is no longer a camping ground for the local RVs. And I just had a message to week on Gosling Lake, and I've been down and seen it. There's probably about 40 campers down there in Gosling Lake the weekend. And people feel that we need something local here. And I know Gosling Lake is inside of town limits or whatever, but we need to really seriously look at the RV location locally. And I've been bringing it up now for the past few years. But if we can find funding or some kind of partnership with ACOA, it'd be great so we can move this forward. I'd say we're the only place in the province, pretty well, that don't have some type of park for RVs or some type of community park or some, even lands declared on an RV park, so I really like to see this move forward at some point.
I agree, Councillor Compton Hobbs, this is something that's been brought up by dozens and dozens of residents in town, that this is something that's badly needed, and this is definitely an agenda item for the new economic development officer when that position is filled within the next couple of weeks.
And, the word from, ACOA was that, they had stopped funding, RV parks, but, Mr. Gully was going to go back and recheck and revisit. Now, I made one call to him, and, I left a message with him. I'm not sure if he's in town, but I just wanted to clear him because I was thinking after, I didn't mark him, but I think I was told to contact Rex Gully and that he would meet with the committee?
Yes.
Yes, okay, yeah. And that would be the economic development,
Yeah.
yes, okay. All right, so, Councillor Dyson, I'll reach out to him and, do you have the date set for your meeting yet, or would you, or would your committee, if he's willing to meet, on a short notice, would your committee be willing to set?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
July 7th, 12 noon is the next
Yeah,
one.
okay. All right. Okay, are there?
And I have no recommendations.
Okay, are there, any further questions for Councillor Dyson-Evans? There being none, all in favor of the report?
Aye.
Carried unanimous. Move on to the Finance, Administration and Policy. Councillor Beatty.
Thank you, Mayor. The Finance Administration Policy Committee met on June 15, 2020, and was called to order at 12:04 p.m. Those in attendance by video conference in person were myself as Chair, Deputy Mayor Bert Pomeroy, Councilor Lori Dyson-Evans, Town Manager Robert Andrew, CFO Nadine Rowley, Director of HR Craig Wallace, SAT Melissa Whalen, and Executive Assistant Kathy Edwards. Committee met and reviewed May 19 minutes and notes there were no errors or omissions. CFO advised the committee that the reduced county service hours is working well. The shorter hours allow staff to deal with email, phone requests before the doors open to the public at 9 a.m. And furthermore, it blew up at the end of the day. Committee was asked if we were in agreement with maintaining these reduced hours on a permanent basis. Committee suggests there may be special circumstances at some point. It was okay with the reduced hours as long as these circumstances would be accommodated. And at any point, if the reduced hours become an inconvenience to the public, it would be revisited. The SAT advised committee that of 4 residential and 1 business property, 2 were shut off and 1 has been turned back on. 1 is still working on the payment plan to have all arrears paid by October 2020. The info advised committee that there will be a motion for July council meeting for a tax sale. There is another property that has issues with ownership, and legal looking at the options. We received legal opinion from Stuart McSelvey, advising us options for tax recovery when investor is not a property owner, is that their recommendations go through small claims court to retrieve the necessary funds owing pertaining to a given property in question. Business tax relief was discussed at length, and it was agreed that the town should create and develop an application for tax relief for businesses due to COVID-19 pandemic. Following business road correspondence to the town for relief are Norland, Maxwell, Hotel North, Maryland, Valley, and Jungle Gym, and Brown. The FAPC reviewed 2 policies, one for video surveillance camera, and the second one on body worn camera. The FAPC felt these 2 policies were ready to be presented before the council for adoption. In other business, the SP accountability measure and exemption was discussed. Employee evaluation was discussed, and felt we need to update all claims records on file today. Melissa Whalen, Supervisor of Assessment Taxation, gave an update on the accounts receivable. To date for the year 2020, the town received a total of 129 low-income relief applications for 2020, 47 applications for 100% discount, 35 applications for 75% discount, 33 applications for 50% discount, and 14 applications for 25% discount. The FO gave a departmental overtime and expense report. CFO provided documentation regarding the 2020 budget in anticipation of discussion related to monies requested by Healthy Waters Labrador. Committee discussed line items that were highlighted as distinct variance to reallocate funds from and agreed that the best option was the trail assessment phase 1. Committee agreed to hold a special council meeting on Tuesday, June 16, 2020 at 4:30 p.m. to put forth a motion to reallocate $30,000 from the trail assessment phase 1 to Healthy Waters Labrador. The next meeting for FAPC will be held on July 20, 2020 at 12 p.m. There being no further business, the meeting adjourned at 1:25 p.m. I now ask council to set the support for repeating the County Council public meeting dated June 23rd, 2020.
Moved by Councillor Métis, seconded by Councillor Cran. Are there any questions for, Councillor Beatty? There being no questions, all in favor of her report?
Aye.
The motion is carried unanimous.
So,
You have recommendations.
I have 3 recommendations, yes. The first recommendation, the FAP committee recommends council approve the video surveillance policy and enact as per presented. This policy will be assigned PS 0008 and included in the public safety section of town policy manual.
I'll second it.
It's been moved by Councillor Beatty, seconded by Deputy Mayor Pomeroy. Are there any questions on the recommendation put forward? There being none, all in favor of the recommendation?
Aye.
Aye, carried unanimous.
The second recommendation, the FAP committee recommends council approve the body camera warrant policy and enact as per presented. This policy would be assigned PS 0009 and included in the public safety section of the town policy manual.
I second that.
It's been moved by Councillor Beatty, seconded by Councillor Dyson-Edmonds. Are there any questions?
I'll just add that I'm happy to see this coming forward, and I think we're gonna take the lead on it, not only in the province, but in the country, because even the Prime Minister is now talking about body cams, so I think it's a good move on council today.
I have to agree there. I mean, we had this exact discussion a couple of months ago, and pointed that exact thing out, Councillor Hamilton Hobbs, how we should be setting the precedent here. And we did get some opposition to this policy, but I'm glad it's being presented here today. And as you said, we should be leading the country, and it looks like the premiers of the other provinces and the Prime Minister is in that same direction as well. So it's good to see.
Councillor Palmer.
Yeah, I just want to throw my support behind this as well, and I don't think there was so much opposition to the actual use of it. I think it was a lack of policy around it. We didn't have a policy to deal with it, and now we do, which is great to see. And you're right, I mean, in light of everything that's been happening, particularly in the United States and I guess parts of Canada as well, the use of body cams seems to be a big topic of discussion, and we will be leading the way in this province by far. I would expect other municipalities will follow in line as well, and as well as provincial and federal police forces. So it's a good thing, and it does protect the public, and it does protect those who wear those body cams in an enforcement position. So I support this recommendation.
Are there any further discussions on it? I guess there is some concern expressed by a lot of people that it would invade people's privacy, or how it could. But I guess that will be taken care of under the new policy. I hope it will be. But that was a great concern that was expressed by a lot of people in the community and nationwide. That it had the possibility of breaching people's privacy. So I do hope that it's covered under this policy.
And I do believe all of this has gone through legal counsel as well, and direction was given, and incorporated in the policy. So we're comfortable in knowing that the policy is certainly the word what we're looking for. It's enabling. The policy should be enabling.
Okay, all in favor of the recommendation?
Aye.
Carried unanimous.
The third motion, is the application for business tax adjustment COVID-19. The FAP committee recommends that council approve the use of application for business tax adjustment COVID-19 as presented for businesses who wish to apply to the town council for business tax relief due to COVID-19 responses put in place by the provincial government.
I'll second that.
Been moved by Councillor Baker, second by Councillor Council. Is there any discussion on it? There being none, all in favour of the recommendation?
Aye.
Carried unanimous.
I have one more item.
Yes.
I'd like to submit for approval of checks in the amount of $1,610,587.75.
It's been moved by Councillor Baker, seconded by Councillor Dyson Edmonds. Are there any questions pertaining to the run of checks? There being none, all in favour?
Aye.
Carried unanimous.
I'd like to point out, Mr. Mayor, that in the absence of Councillor Tremlett, he was usually the one to question a bunch of checks, so his absence is noted here today for sure.
That's for sure. Okay, then we come down to Councillor's Forum, and tonight I'm supposed to start on my right. And Councillor Baker, okay, now you move, but you want, if you're, okay.
She's the first, right?
Councillor Compton.
Alright, I just wanted to, again, on the transient population, I know that's a big issue, but I meant to mention too that we also had a outreach coordinator for in partnership with the town and Nunatsiavut, and hoping to have that signed out in the next few days, so we can get that position advertised. It's gonna be housed at the housing hub, so I think that's gonna be a big asset to the community for the transient population. It's not gonna fix the problem, but it's certainly gonna help. Healthy Waters Labrador, I was happy that the town was able to come through with the funding, and hopefully the damages can be fixed down there soon, because the boardwalk is a lot of steps going on here around the day. Courtney Dunn, I want to wish her all the best. I think she was a big asset to the town at Valley-Goose Bay. Very well educated in her department, she knew her job, and it's going to be our loss and Ontario's gain for sure. And finally, I just wanted to say to Joe, we think about Joe for the next couple of weeks. I wish him the best, and I was happy. The community came out and supported him in droves, and we raised $36,000 for Joe and his family, which is a great help. You know, anybody that's dealing with anything financially, the building has done a bit. So I'll be thinking of Joe, wishing him well the next couple of weeks for sure. That's it.
Councillor Dyson Edmonds.
Thank you, Mayor. Jeff, I know that Councillor Compton's going to correct you because I've sent some more EMTs since then, so we're up over 37,000 now.
Right.
Which is good to see. And I too would like to wish the best to Courtney. She's been a welcome addition to the staff here, very knowledgeable. Of course, we're all thinking of Joe, and we're all pulling for him, and I told him when he visited the house a couple of days ago that, you know, if there's anything we can do as council, you know, we all do whatever we can to help him out. We wish him all the best for sure. I'd like to point out Miss Tara Ryan here as well today. Tara had some beautiful pictures in the rain of her grad down on our beautiful boardwalk. So we wish Tara all the best in what she decides to pursue, and I'm sure she'll be successful in everything, but it's great to have you sitting at the table, Tara. And that's about it for me.
Okay, Councillor Baker.
Okay, and just wanted to follow up with Jackie, Tom's talking about the transient population. I'm glad that our mayor met up with Chief Hart, and I hope something will come through. Giving the $30,000 to Healthy Waters, I hope that becomes another helpful funds towards their initiative. I'm looking forward to see the Canada Day, see the results of everybody's creativity. Want to thank Courtney Dunn for your service and good luck in your next chapter in Ontario. And also Tara Bryan, thank you for your service to the Newfoundland people and good luck in your studies. And thank you, Councillor Tom, for dedicating for raising funds for Joe. That sure means a lot of money and really good to see that you're helping out Joe. And I'm thinking of you, Joe, and I'm praying for you every day. So that's it.
Okay, and then we'll go to our youth councillor, Tara.
Thank you, Your Worship. I guess I've been thinking a lot about the transient issue recently, and it's a complicated issue to kind of come across. Like we really do need to have like all hands on deck. I would think, with a lot of dedication and empathy in mind, as to what these people are facing and like the help that they might need. And like, you know, certainly there's probably a lot of resources that are required to help solve this issue, but I'm sure that helping to reach out to talk to people will be good, will be key in trying to help them out. I guess I'm not really considered a high school student anymore. I'll be in university soon in the fall, so I think I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for somebody who might wanna take over for me. I'm not gonna lie, that there hasn't really been any interest from our student government members. I'm trying to target some of the younger ones so that I can have them kind of go through their years with you guys, like I did. But I mean, I'm sure I'll find someone. I hope so. So if I do, then I'll be introducing them to these meetings. So yeah, you guys have been really great. I don't know, because like I have to report back to the school on these meetings, which I want people to do. But yeah, I'm good.
Thanks, Tara. Thank you. Okay, Councillor Grant.
Thank you, Your Worship. I really don't know where to start this evening. I'm very disgusted over the social media posts that were floating around over the weekend concerning our new animal control officer. In my opinion, it was the purest form of racism, and to have his personal vehicle vandalized over the weekend was, to me, is borderline hatred, if not outright hatred. You know, his kids, he's living here now with his family. His 12-year-old son had to witness that, and it was very devastating. And I mean, they're hoping to be living here, and you know, he's been a resident here now for the past 9 months or so. So, you know, checking into things, I think coming into the country of Canada, if you're a resident here for 6 months, you have every right as if you were here a lifetime. Same thing in the provinces, and I think within the municipality you can vote after 30 days of living in the municipality. You have the right to vote as well. So, you know, this gentleman is now a resident, in my opinion, of Happy Valley-Goose Bay. He wants to make his home here, and all he wants to do is make things better for our community as animal control officer. I'll just share a story, and I'll get to Constable Baker. Constable Baker, I think, is doing a bang up job out there. He's getting a lot of flack on social media and other things. He's not doing nothing, only doing his job. I came back from Lab West over the weekend, and of course, me being Lakefoot, I ended up getting a speeding ticket coming up toward Church of Falls. Now, did I deserve the ticket? Yes, I was speeding. You know, did that RNC officer deserve to give me the ticket? He did. I was speeding. I got caught, and I got to pay a fine, but that's fine. And that's all that Constable Baker was doing here, was doing his job. So I just said to the public that if you don't want to interact with Constable Baker, stay out of trouble and obey the laws. And that's my rank for the night.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Speedy Gonzalez.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, didn't you get a ticket last year coming from Lab City too?
The wife don't know about that. I hope he
Should do now.
2 years ago, I think it was in the very same spot for speeding again, of course.
Okay, we'll move on to Deputy Mayor Pomeroy.
All right, thank you, Your Worship. I'm on Populated of Callan Drive, And, as you know, we held a public consultation on March 10th here at the town office to advise residents of the town's plan to extend Helen Drive to Fort Rio Road. During that meeting, it was clear that the vast majority that were present were in agreement with the extension overall. However, there were concerns raised as to the proposed location of the route. At the time, our consultant recommended the route run directly behind properties on Lyle Street, beginning at a distance of about 3 meters from the property lines. Now, that don't actually, in speaking with the town engineer, that doesn't actually mean the actual road would be 3 meters or 10 feet from people's property, people's fences or property lines. There's a utility pole easement as well as an easement required for the extension itself. So the distance from the property lines to the edge of the road would have been much greater than 3 meters initially. There were also concerns about the uncaved section of Fort Rio Road that will intersect with Kellens Drive. There was also concerns about dust control, noise, etc. Some expressed concerns about existing natural trails and how they would be impacted by this development. As far as I'm concerned, Your Worship, Council took those concerns into consideration and went back to the consultant and asked that further options be presented, which was done. And Council agreed with the recommendation to move the routing an additional 14 meters from what was originally proposed. This was conveyed by email to those who attended the March 10th public meeting. As I noted, when you take into consideration the easements and that we have to be, and also being advised by the town engineer, that the distance between the property lines and the edge of the pavement at the end of Lyle Street near Hefner will actually be around 35 meters. Is that correct, town engineer? 35 meters or is it 25?
It's 25 meters.
25 meters, not 14. And that distance will increase as the route moves towards Fort Rio. We have also been advised that there will be provisions in the contract to ensure steps are taken to mitigate against dust and to ensure that natural vegetation and trees are maintained as much as possible between the road and adjacent properties. And with that, part of the contract will ensure hydro seeding, town engineer?
That's right, Deputy, as well as you mentioned, that all existing vegetation that doesn't have to be removed will be maintained as is.
And discussions are also underway with the goal of protecting the existing trail that runs directly behind the properties on Lyle and Winning Crescent. During the public meeting, we heard from residents that they did not want sound fences installed, which we agreed with. They also asked that a proposed paved walking trail along the route be scrapped in favor of leaving the existing natural trail, which we agreed with. Some wanted us to ensure Fort Rio was paved to Helen Drive extension, and that will also be done. And in all, the changes we have agreed to could drive the cost of this project up by as much as $325,000, which will have to come from the taxpayers of this community, and specifically taken from the $2 million that was budgeted to resurface other roads in the community this summer. This project is cost shared with the federal and provincial governments at a cost of about $2 million. This is in addition to the estimated $2 million to resurface the rest of Helen Drive from Hamilton River Road to bring it up to an arterial road standard. From where I stand, I think we've done as much as we could, given the financial pressure and to find a regional way forward to keep this vital road link. Once completed, Helen Drive, which will be paved, like I said, entirely from Hamilton River Road to Fort Rio Road, will direct traffic away from the neighborhood. This includes Lyle, Hefner, Lake Streets, all of which, by no coincidence, have speed humps installed on them because of high traffic volumes and in many cases excessive speeding. I live on the street, Your Worship, and I see it every day. And some days it's just unbelievable the amount of traffic that's going on. There's a lot of children in these areas. And in my view, I think public safety has to always take top priority in all the decisions that we make. It will also ensure that heavy traffic is removed from Fort Rio, and we all remember the delegations that show up here at this chamber, the emails, the calls, people approaching us in the community of the heavy traffic that was moving up and down Fort Rio Road. And we all committed to those residents that we would work as hard as we could to try and alleviate that problem. The other thing too, you know, the road will also provide a major traffic route through the valley in the event of a natural disaster, God forbid, or an emergency situation. And I'm not prepared, Your Worship, to raise taxes or put the town's financial situation at risk by making further adjustments, unless we magically find, and from a rough estimate based on the information obtained from the town engineer, to make any additional changes to what's being proposed, to run the project an additional $400,000 to $500,000 to accommodate those who want further revisions made to the plan. And you know, at this point, you know, I think it's going to be a discussion that's going to continue, but I stand firm on my position because I think it's the right thing to do for a lot of reasons. I understand people have concerns, and we all want our cake and eat it too. We want the best for everybody. But sometimes you just have to find a way to get things done and try to accommodate people the best way you could. Any public consultation, I've been 30 years involved in consultation processes. Any public consultation, provincial government comes forward with the pre-budget consultation, and they come to town, they gather groups together, they sit us down in a room, they discuss issues, they go away, and then they release their budget. There's no more going back to another public consultation. The information is presented to those who were there as soon as we got it. Within days, as soon as we got it. On another point, Worship, with respect to Port Real Road, as you know, Gaspar Port Real was a Portuguese explorer and reported slave trader. And history indicates that he captured indigenous slaves, most likely from Labrador, some 500 years ago. And in these days of reconciliation, I personally don't think we should be honoring people at Gaspar Port Real, and that the name of the road be changed or be considered to be changed. Of course, that's my personal opinion, and I'm certainly interested in finding what other residents in the community would think about that. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Mayor, I just want to clarify one thing. I know that I already spoke, but when you're going to include something that's, in fact, that's me, I did not support the option of what you're talking about there, and I want to clarify that. I do support Calendar Program. I just want to say that.
I'd like to clarify something there too as well. I don't think there's anybody sitting around this table that's against the Kellen Drive extension. And I've said from day one that my problem with the process was that we did not follow through with communicating with their residents like we said we did, like we said we would, sorry. I support the extension to Kellen Drive 100%. How it happens and how the extension goes ahead, I have a problem with that. I don't think there's anybody, and I'll say it again, I don't think there's anybody in this room or in this town that is against that extension. But I brought it up at multiple committee levels, multiple council meetings about not communicating with the residents when we said we would. And their first, I even pointed out, I do not want their first communication from this council to be that this is what you're getting. And that's exactly what happened, and I have a problem with that. So I just want to clarify that for the record as well. And I have no problem in talking to those residents and listening to their concerns. And I'm not going to turn around and say, no, I'm not going to listen to anybody's concerns.
No, no more discussion, because it's not fair to people. And I can tell you, I'll let it go this time, but never again. And I can tell you why I wrote it. Because at the last council, I sat over here, and every meeting, the mayor would start on this side, and I would say something, and the councillors over here, councillors Compton and Chubbs and the Gloves here, they'd get up and they speak right against me. And I couldn't come back and voice my concerns. So that's the reason why I alternate to go around the table. Start this side and this side. And the councillors forum, when we speak, everyone is given the equal opportunity to speak on top of what they have. Now, that being said, I did at a meeting over a month ago say that we would have a meeting with them. And for some reason, the meeting didn't happen. Now, I went down and I was talking to a gentleman about Callan Drive, and Mr. Abbas came across the street. he wanted, to talk to me, so I went there the next day, and I told him that we would have a meeting, and we will have a meeting tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. Now, I talked to him again this afternoon, and I said, listen, we agreed that you would bring, 3 or 4 of your people. He said, yes. Now, I do believe that looking around here today, if we have our council, we would probably need Randy and maybe the town manager. So I do believe that we can get back to him and tell him that we could accommodate maybe 5 of his people. I think we would have room for that in the chamber here. But he was happy today. Yes, he said, I agree with you that there were 3 or 4 of us at 5. So, Will, can you check it out and just like for the social distancing?
Absolutely.
And we'll go back and if we can accommodate 5, and if we can accommodate 6, we'll tell them that.
Yeah.
And we'll sit down and you know, we'll have a meeting, that's promised. Tara, I think the reason why you might be having a problem getting someone is because I think the Bible says, boy, she's going very hard to replace. And I mean, you know, you showed us what a human being is like. And I can tell you that you're going to go a long way in life because you've got the attitude, but most important of all, in your heart, you care about people. And that's the most important thing that anyone could have. Councillor Grant, I know that what you said is hard to comprehend. Everyone who's around this table knows that we talked about local. We were advised by the Department of Municipal Affairs, and we were advised by legal counsel that we cannot specify local. If not, we would be breaching the code of conduct, the human rights code of conduct. And also on most applications that we put out, is in fine print, the town of Happy Valley-Goose Bay is an equal opportunity employer. So it's, you know, it's sad that these things happen in our community. And I did go and visit Dwayne, and you know, he told me quite a story. And when you see a 13-year-old and a 12-year-old is devastated, that you know, it really hits home. Joel, you know, yeah, sitting at the end of the table over there, or where, you know, that with his quiet way, that asking questions, usually as Councillor said on the run of checks, you know, he had a 4 or 5, and you know, look, Canada Day is coming up, and I would suggest to all of us that despite the fact that sometimes we argue and fight a lot, and almost to a point where sometimes we despise each other, that we should seriously keep joy in mind and sit back and think of the opportunities that we have in this community to work together. And the last thing I'll say is a farewell to our good little buddy Gary Thompson that we lost, a pillar of strength in our community, well known. Councillor Compton's, I think that you was one of the organizers of the parade, a huge parade. And his mom did tell me that she's going to have a service for him later on, and I'm sure that the church is going to be back. So with that, I would ask for just to remind council that tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock, we'll sit down with Mr. Abbas and his people, 4 or 5 people that he bring, and on Thursday we have a meeting with Kerry again to go over the problem that we have in our community. And I think slowly but surely, I think we're starting to put some things in place that needs to be done to try and solve the problem. So with that being said and done, I ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Compton, seconded by Councillor Vice All in favor? Aye. Carried unanimous.